So you have a Raj Yoga in your chart. You have read your chart, and maybe you have visited quite a few astrologers and they have told you that you have multiple Raj Yogas in your chart. But your life, it's still the same. You are still struggling. Maybe you want to travel the world, maybe you want to reach at some position in your office, or it could also be that you want to start something of your own, but you are still unable to. Now you have started questioning, is there really a Raj Yoga in your chart? So be with me and I will tell you something that your astrologer did not. I will tell you why your Raj Yogas are not giving results for you. If you stay with me until the end, I will also tell you how can we activate your Raj Yogas, what can be done so that your Raj Yogas give you positive results. So before we dive into the reasons about why your Raj Yogas are not working, I would like to give you a very basic information about how Raj Yoga is formed. So every human being born on earth has an astrological chart which is called as Kundli or Patri depending on where you live. In that Kundli or astrological chart, you will have 12 houses, you have 9 planets and 9 Rashis, also called as zodiac signs. And we have benefic planets like Mercury, Moon, Jupiter and Venus. If these 4 benefic planets sits in good houses like 1, 4, 7, 10 or even 5 and 9, these are considered like the auspicious house in our Kundli. So if these benefic planets occupy one of these houses, there is a certain kind of a Raj Yoga. But there are also Raj Yogas which are formed by malefic planets as well, like Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, also form a Raj Yoga, but that's a different kind of a Raj Yoga. The common Raj Yogas that we see are always formed by the benefic planets in our chart. So that was the basic information I had to give you about a Raj Yoga so that you understand what a Raj Yoga is. Now you might think like, why is there such a hype about a Raj Yoga? So we have seen in history that people having Raj Yogas had done great things in their lives. To give you an example, let's have a look at a chart of Madhuri Dixit. We all know she's a very renowned Bollywood actress. So if we look at her chart, we see Moon and Jupiter sitting together at 10th house, which simply tells us that she has a Gaj Kesi Raj Yoga. So a benefic planet like Jupiter is sitting along with another benefic planet, Moon, also in a very auspicious house, 10th house. 10th house is known for profession. 10th house is known for your karma. So this is an example of a Gaj Kesi Raj Yoga. Now let's dive into the reasons why your Raj Yogas are not working. So let's start with reason number 1. No dasha is equal to no delivery. You should always remember this rule. So what does dasha mean? So we all know that we have planets, we have houses and we also have zodiacs in our chart now. But the day you were born in a specific nakshatra as well. So that specific nakshatra you were born in, it decides what dasha you will see on the day you were born. So from there on, you have a dasha sequence that follows throughout your life. So let's say for an example, you were born during Rahu dasha. So if Rahu was the first dasha of your life, you will have first dasha as Rahu, second will be like Jupiter, then you will have Saturn and so on. And it is only during these dashas your planets would be activated. You all have 9 planets sitting in your chart, but it does not mean that all 9 planets are activated at the same time. Your planets get activated during their own dashas. So let's again have a look at this chart. So we see that Madhuri Dixit has Moon and Jupiter sitting in 10th house. But getting a dasha of Moon and Jupiter is what would have triggered this Gaj Kesi Raj Yoga in her life. So that is a very specific point that you should remember, that even though you have a Raj Yoga in your life, triggering this particular planet at a particular time in your life is very important. Now let's say you have a Raj Yoga, but this planet did not get triggered when you were young, when you were struggling, when you were motivated. Let's say your Raj Yoga get triggered when you were like 70 years old. What would you do about it? I don't think you will be able to make most out of it. So that is the point I'm trying to make out here, that getting the dasha of a planet which forms a Raj Yoga in your chart is the utmost important thing in your life. So many people who have Raj Yoga, they do not get dasha at the right time when they need it. That is one reason that your Raj Yoga is not working. So let's talk about reason number 2, which is strength of the planets forming a Raj Yoga. So all the planets which are sitting in your chart, they are of a certain strength. Now I will explain two ways you can check what the strength of a certain planet is. First one, you can simply go into any one of the app like AstroSage, and on top of that planet there will be degrees mentioned. It would be between 0 to 30. So if a planet forming your Raj Yoga is between 12 degrees to 18 degrees, or let's say 10 to 20, it is a good number. It means your planet has a strength. Now second way how you can check a strength of a planet is to see what planets are sitting with the planet forming a Raj Yoga, or what planets are aspecting that planet. It simply means your benefic planets which are forming your Raj Yoga should not have any aspects from a malefic planet. It should not be afflicted from malefics like Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, Mars. So if we take an example of the same chart again, you see we have 10th house, Moon and Jupiter sitting together. Moon, a benefic planet, sitting with another major benefic planet which is Jupiter, and we don't have any other planet sitting with them. Good, because Rahu is sitting at 7th. And then we also see Ketu is not aspecting it, Mars is not aspecting it, and neither Saturn is aspecting it, which is a very good sign that this Raj Yoga will definitely work. So this is how strength of a planet is governed. There are other things that we can look at to judge a strength of a planet, but for now let's keep it to these two things. Now let's talk about reason number 3. Bad houses kills your Raj Yogas. Now what does that mean? We have houses in our chart which are not really good. For example, 3, 6, 8 and 12. These houses are not good because third house, it represents hard work. So whenever a Raj Yoga is formed in your third house, you will have to work day and night to achieve success. So would you really say that is a Raj Yoga? In today's world, everybody is running from hard work. How can we say that is actually a Raj Yoga? And now if we talk about house 6, so 6th house Raj Yoga, you will see people will rise to fame only when people around them are trying to pull them down. Even people near and dear to you will try to pull you down, but you will get success. If you are a kind of a person who don't care about people around you, it's good. 6th house Raj Yoga can still work for you. And then if your Raj Yoga is formed in 8th house, it is always said that your Raj Yoga will come after a major transformation. And this transformation could also be due to some loss in your life. Let's say you might lose a job and then you started doing your own business and that business turned out really well. That is one example. Then we have also seen so many people, they have risen to success only after losing their parents or someone who is very near and dear to them. That is what 8th house Raj Yoga does for you. And then there is also a 12th house Raj Yoga. For 12th house, a person will have to go to isolation. He or she, they will have to live alone, work alone, then only this will be activated. Or they can also travel abroad, then this will work perfectly for them. Reason number 4, divisional charts. So we have a Lagna chart, but we do have divisional charts like D9, D10, D7. And D9 is one of the most important chart. The reason is 9th house is also a very important house in your Kundli, and D9 is the expansion of that house alone. So if you have a Raj Yoga in your Lagna chart, but that Raj Yoga is missing in D9, it's not going to work for you. Again, let's say Moon and Jupiter is forming a Raj Yoga for you, and Moon and Jupiter still can be placed in different houses, but if they are not afflicted by any malefics, that is good. But if we see Moon and Jupiter sitting with Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, or they are opposite to them, it is not a good sign. It only weakens your Raj Yoga. You may get some results, but you will not get most out of it. Now let's talk about reason number 5, which is my favorite. It's called karma. So if you have a Raj Yoga in your Kundli, you often feel it is not triggered because your karmas are not aligned according to those planets. Now it could also mean if your karmas are bad, you will get bad results. That is a basic thing in life. We all know that we have to do good karmas, then only we would get good results. But on the other hand, if I talk astrologically, you have these planets, and these planets also have their certain karmas that you need to do. So, for example, let's say Mercury is forming your Raj Yoga. Now, if you are a person who doesn't like to talk, who doesn't like to network, who doesn't like to go out, this Raj Yoga will never come into play because Mercury would like you to speak up. Mercury is a Devata. Mercury is a planet which wants you to communicate. It's a significator of communication. So if you sit alone at house or if you don't like going out, then this is not going to play out well for you. Similarly, if Venus causes your Raj Yoga and you are not good with your mother, you are not good with your sisters or other girls around you, it won't be good for you either because Venus is a significator of females in your life. So now let's talk about how we can trigger these Raj Yogas. First thing we can do is we can wait and we can check our Dasha sequence. So if we see in our Dasha sequence that the planets which are forming these Raj Yogas, their Dasha is nearing, we can wait, and the day this Dasha would start, you will start seeing positive results. And next thing you can do, you can work on strengthening those planets. So let's say if your Raj Yoga is formed by Jupiter, then you need to do two things to strengthen this planet. First is charity related to Jupiter. So yellow chana dal is one thing that you can donate in temples or people who need it around you, who need food. You can donate it to them. It will strengthen your Jupiter. Next thing you can do is you can fast on Thursdays. That will also help you strengthen your Jupiter. And similarly, all the other planets have their specific days that you can fast on, and they do have specific things that you can donate as well. And now, if we talk about next thing, it's called karma alignment. You can do specific karmas which will trigger your Raj Yogas. So let's say you are a Aries Lagna or your Rashi is Aries. Aries is ruled by Mangal, but you are a kind of a person who always thinks and never implements. Let's say you have a logo in your mind ready for your company, but you always think, you go into deep thinking, but when it comes to implementing, you are not there. So that is not a way Mangal driven person should be. You should be implementing stuff. You should be the one who is a go-getter. You should not fear failing. So that is just an example how Aries Lagna or Aries Rashi would be. Similarly, if your Raj Yogas are formed by certain planets, you need to do karmas associated to them. So for example, if you have Venus, you need to talk to females respectfully. If it is Moon, you can donate food. So doing this specific karmas will make sure that your planets forming Raj Yogas give you positive results. And the last thing I would tell you how you can trigger your Raj Yoga is through spirituality. That is one thing which will always work. Sit in meditation and you will see the differences. If not meditation, you can also do mantra japs. So let's say if it is Moon, you can always jap Om Namah Shivaya. I think we all know that Shivji has moon on his head. So if your Raj Yoga is formed by moon, so that is the reason you should always jap Om Namah Shivaya. There is also a small story about it that Chandra Devta was given a bane that he would disappear. But then it was Shivji who came to the rescue and made sure that even though the moon will go away slowly, it will also come back. That is why we always say to strengthen your moon, always do a jap of Om Namah Shivaya. And you can always start visiting temples of these devtas which are associated to certain planets forming your Raj Yogas. If not those, you can always rely on your East Devta. You should all know who your East Devta is. And if you don't know who your East Devta is, you can comment down your details and I can figure out from your chart who your East Devta is and I will write back to you. Now at last, I would like to also tell you one thing, which is don't consider this Raj Yogas as something which will give you wealth, money and fame or success. See, all these Raj Yogas are bigger than these material things. You may not have a big car or a big house for yourself, but you could have people around you. You could have your girlfriend, boyfriend always looking out for you when you are in pain, or your parents with you, or your spouse who is always looking after you. Isn't that the Raj Yoga in itself? I would say definitely yes. We always look at celebrities and we always look at friends around us who has a better life than us and we think, oh man, they have it better. But we always forget to appreciate what we have. I think it is important to follow your planets, but it is also important to appreciate what you have. This way, you will always stay positive, and positivity can manifest big things in your life. Always keep that in mind. And if you like what you are seeing here, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video with your friends and family. That is all for today. I am Sachin Sharma. Thank you for watching me today. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Mata.